Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cavletics, an inside look into the athletics department here at Bossier Parish Community College. I'm your host, Charlie Cavell, and we've got another great show for you today. Earlier this week, ESPN debuted its documentary series For the Love of Basketball, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It brought back a lot of memories from my childhood of great players like Julius Erving, Dr. J, John Hondo Havlicek, guys who I idolized, and and just on through the Olympics and other things. It's really great, but enough about my stroll down memory lane, because again, we're talking basketball, and I promise not to sing this week, okay? I promise. But we're talking basketball, specifically Bossier Parish Community College Cavalier basketball with BPCC head coach Chris Lovell. And today Chris brought along one of his players with him, Mikhail Simmons. And thanks to both of y'all for being here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you know, to start out things, last weekend, you went and your team competed in the Mullen-Mitchell-Dallas blowout, and in Fort Worth, Texas, to be specific. And I'm betting for both of you, but specifically for Mikhail, it was good to line up and play against somebody different, and tip off and go against different guys instead of the same guys in practice.
Well, there's no doubt. I think the guys were ready to get out and play someone different. They've been beating up on each other for a couple months, and so it was good to get out and finally have someone in a different color uniform that you can play against and start to kind of see what our team's going to look like.
And for you, Mikhail, I mean, not banging against the same guys in practice, finally get to beat on somebody else.
Yes, sir. It's definitely a different experience. Just for 2 months, just banging up on each other, just getting a chance to go out and compete against other people is just a great opportunity.
Well, Mikhail, for you, you are from Dallas, Texas. You went out to Loyola Marymount University. For those of you that don't know, is out in Los Angeles, California.
Yes,
so
sir.
You went from the big LA to Bossier City to the small LA. Tell us a little bit about your transition going from the big time lights of Division I basketball at Loyola Marymount, a historically good basketball program. Now your decision to come to BPCC.
Definitely making this transition. It's been different just based on the fact, coming from Division I to JUCO. It's been a transition as far as, the bells and whistles you get from Division I. JUCO really tests your love of the game. So, it's just been a big step for me.
Well, good, and we're glad that you are here. Well, Chris, back to the Mullen-Mitchell blowout. Talk about not only the setting and how it, and our folks and our viewers will see in a few minutes some clips from that, but talk about the format of the what they kind of call the JUCO Jamboree, but also the setting and the environment.
Well, we played at the Game On facility in Fort Worth, Texas, which basically, if you could just picture like an airport hangar with like 6 courts in it, wide open. There's over 400 four-year coaches in the gym, along with, I think it was like 60-something JUCO teams, all in this one place at one time. So the environment, that didn't even count the fans, parents, all the other stuff that were there. So the environment was electric. I mean, it was crowded. We had great crowds at all of our games, a ton of coaches there. And we played 3 games, and literally, I think, in 6 hours. We played 3 games, and so our guys, by the 3rd game, we literally were out of gas. I mean, we only dressed 10 guys, and so, to play as hard as we play, the tempo we like to play at, and the defensive pressure we like to put on people for 3 straight games. Well, by the time we got to halftime of that 3rd game, we kind of were a little deflated and ready to go home. But man, it was a great experience for us, for our guys, and our guys did great not only for the team, but they did great for themselves, and that was the best part of the weekend.
Before I jump to Mikhail, for you as a coach, is it difficult to get used to? I know you and I have talked that, most of your guys have played AAU basketball, kind of used to that environment. But for you as a coach and your staff, when you're hearing whistles blowing from other courts and horns sounding and instead of playing in one arena, one court, is it hard for you to get used to in that environment?
Well, thankfully, our guys have all played AAU ball at a high level, so they're used to those environments because that's typical AAU environment. as far as basketball goes. But for us, yeah, the focus isn't near as good. You typically, in those environments, don't shoot the ball really, really well from outside, which is great for us because we're more of an attacking team, getting close to the rim. But yeah, it was a little distracting, but at the same time, compared to what it's been the past couple of years, they've had to spread out over several different high schools in the Dallas Metroplex. It was great to have all the college coaches under one roof, all the teams under one roof, so that everybody could see each other. And I think it helped the environment, and I think it helped all of these guys on our team and the other JUCO players get the maximum exposure, which is why we're there.
Well, Mikhail, let's get your thoughts. You know, it's the first time that you were suiting up as a BPCC Cavalier and competing against guys not wearing maroon and gold. And did you have some butterflies, some nerves? And, you know, how do you think you played, and how was your experience in that environment over those 3 games?
Well, you know, it was the first, game of the season, so you always have a butterfly just from it being the first game, new team, new environment, stuff like that. But, you know, I feel like, to start out with, I played good, but then, as games and as the day went on, I got better, and that's all you can ask for, and stuff like that. So
well, I
feel like
appreciate
it was a successful weekend.
Well, now let's take a look at some of the clips from the game against Redlands College. And Chris, if you would, tell our viewers what we're seeing in these video clips. And the first one we're going to start out is with Eric Parrish.
Yeah, absolutely. What we try to do is put a lot of pressure, on the basketball and do that, create turnovers where we can get some defense, where we can get deflections, and then get on the offensive end of the court and have a lot of fun on the offensive end as we are an attack team. I mean, right here we're throwing the ball inside, and we're able to just get it in to Paris Harris, a JUCO transfer from Itawamba Community College, and he's able to score. And so, Paris had a great weekend. And then here we're just getting into our dribble drop motion, and Eric's getting down into the post and then flaring out. And so what we try to do is we look to post the ball and we look to drive the ball. And so that's what you're seeing right here. And so we get the skips down to the backside, and we're able to swing the ball and hopefully get an open shot. And so, those kind of things are the things we do on just a normal gameplay situation for us, as you see us continuing to attack the rim right there. Obviously that one didn't go, but we were able to kind of get what we wanted and get where we wanted, which is the most important thing, is what we were looking for.
Well, and right there, that last clip we saw, Eric didn't get the dribble drive to go, but good transition defense where you're able to get the turnover quickly, an outlet pass, and get it back up and in. And, you talk about a lot of times the pace that you like to play. Is that representative of that pace?
Very much. I mean, you can see we're pushing the ball, we're trapping, and getting up and down. I think we're a lot faster and quicker than we were last season, as you well know, and so that it's going to create a lot of transition opportunities for our guys to get out and have fun. And at the end of the day, right there, we get a great defensive stand, and now we're off running. And so it's a fun brand of basketball to watch. Our guys are incredibly unselfish, and that was the one thing I heard from college coaches all weekend is, man, your guys share the ball, and that's really hard to find at the JUCO level, guys that are unselfish.
Well, Mikhail, for you, we'll see a clip of here with you on defense in a minute, but I know you played at the Division I level at Loyola Marymount, but how would you rate the speed and the physicality of your first action at the JUCO level?
So I played in the West Coast Conference, so that's like some great shooting teams, St. Mary's, BYU, and stuff. So they were more, slower tempo, move the ball around, get open threes and stuff. But in JUCO, it's more fast-paced. They like to go, run, push the ball, defensive pressure, stuff like that. So it's definitely,
the West Coast more of half-court, operating out of
half-court
sets,
stuff like that.
And then rather than that.
Exactly.
Well, we saw your defense in there. Is that one of your strengths that you would rate as one of your strengths, or is that just a part of the whole Mikhail package?
Obviously to be a good player, you got to pride yourself on defense. That's kind of how, offense, comes along for me, just in particular. But, I just like to think that defense is, a good part of my game that I like to do.
Chris, give me your overall assessment of that first game against Redlands.
Well, the pace was really crazy. They were a smaller team, and so Mikhail and I have even talked about it. We had to go smaller in that game with our lineup, just kind of stay on the court. A lot of real quick guys, but I felt like our guys were tough. I felt like we were physical, and I felt like we attacked the rim. I couldn't say that about our team last year. We played a different style based on our personnel last year. This year, being able to say we were tough, physical, and attack the rim are all good statements because we can fix all the other stuff. But we were very aggressive, and we were fun to watch, and we were extremely unselfish.
Now, is that something that you will do on a normal basis depending on what the opponent runs out there for their starting five or their operation? In this instance, you talked about Redlands going with more of a four-guard offense or a four-guard look. And do you make the adjustment to that, or are you just going to do you do what you do and then adjust on the fly?
Well, basketball is a game of adjustments, you know, and so, we always have a game plan going in, and we know what the other team looks like and what they're going to at least try to do beforehand in our preparation. And then, once you get into the game, if we're unable, if we're a little bit bigger to stay in front and keep them out of the lane, then we may have to go small, even though we had a plan maybe to do what we do and make them adjust. And so you just have to be ready to make those adjustments. And the great thing about our team this year is that we're extremely versatile. And so we're able to go really big, we're able to go really small, and I think that's really going to help us in the season because we can play in multiple different ways.
Well, conditioning-wise, and maybe that's better for Mikhail than it is for you, but conditioning-wise, first you address that. I know you like to play that fast-paced style. It takes great conditioning, particularly from big men like Mikhail, in order to be able to run that up and down the court transition type offense to defense. How did you find the team's conditioning in that first game against the smaller lineup?
Well, he might be able to speak to it, but I feel like our team's in great shape. I mean, their bodies look good. We looked more physically imposing than the rest of the teams we saw for the most part. At least that's what I felt like from a visual standpoint. But we're in great shape. I mean, our guys. If we only played one game on that day, everybody else would have been worn out after playing us just one game because we're in that kind of good shape. Plus, we have a deep bench, and so we're able to play 9 or 10 guys, which when these guys are on the court allows them to play as hard as they can. I mean, what do you think, Mikhail?
Yeah.
Definitely, 2 months we were there, wind sprints, weight room, we just been, grinding in the weight room and stuff like that. So definitely showed on Saturday. So it was.
You think you're in the better shape than
way better shape than when I came here.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break for a brief timeout, but don't go anywhere because following the break we'll have more with BPCC head basketball coach Chris Lovell and forward Mikhail Simmons.
From the time I was born, I was in a theatrical family, and now I'm dean of the division and pretty much the director of the theater aspects.
I love that people come to theater to experience the pain and tragedy and joy of other people's lives. I think that's kind of a beautiful thing. It's a release.
The whole experience of being on stage, it's scary, but I think it's kind of worth it because you get this adrenaline rush, you get all these emotions that you don't get to feel every day.
I haven't found a similar experience quite like it yet. It comes to a point where everything around me is real.
The theater is the one art form that encompasses all art forms. It's not about the final product other than the experience that happens when it happens.
As a student, you learn every aspect of theater. You learn costuming, you learn lighting, you're building sets every day, and you're in makeup class, and you also, take directing and acting. I mean, you do it all.
The hardest thing for some students to grasp is the language that they're dealing with, and you have to help them along. So when I find a student who has a lot of talent but needs some encouragement in other areas, that's the ones I really enjoy working with the most, I think.
Well, the faculty and staff at Bossier Parish Community College is absolutely fantastic. They wish they could keep you forever and they love you and all that, but they want you to spread your wings and fly, and they are seriously preparing you for that.
We're looking to increase our audience development, which will bring in more people to see how wonderful our students are and how many opportunities that we can give them. Also giving the experience to the students that they need so they can get out of here with their degree and get a job.
Welcome home, man.
Welcome back to Cavletics. I'm Charlie Cavell. Again, we're visiting with BPCC men's basketball coach Chris Lovell and forward Mikhail Simmons. Before the break, we were talking about Coach Lovell and the Cavaliers participating in the Mullen-Mitchell blowout in Fort Worth, Texas. It's a JUCO basketball jamboree, a chance for junior colleges to get a number of scrimmage games in one day in one central location. So you got one game under your belt, and now in game two, you got the Cavaliers face Grayson College, which is located up in Denison, Texas. And I noticed that you went with the same kind of starting five in game two with guards E.J. Clark and Erie Olanati, forwards Jason Holliday and Eric Parrish, and at center David Williams. But correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, it looked to me as if it was more of a four-guard, one center lineup than your traditional two-guard, two-forward, one post player set.
Yeah, we like to experiment with different lineups, especially in the preseason. So, in our next scrimmage, we're probably going to start bigger just to kind of see what that looks like. And we do that in practice quite a bit. We mix up the teams and get different. But, our smaller lineup, like what we started with against Grayson, Grayson played a zone. And so with a smaller lineup, you have a little bit more outside shooting on the court. You match up a little bit better with them, and they were a good team. And so, it's an opportunity for us in these scrimmages to roll different lineups out there to see what works best for us. But really, we've got 7 guys that could start on any given night. And last year, I had 9 different starting lineups. And so, it'll really come down to who's playing well that week in practice. And it's really going to come down to who starts with the matchups we have with the other team and what they look like.
Well, and also, a lot of times fans and people on the periphery get caught up in wins and losses, but at the end of the day, this is a scrimmage. And so tell us what you as a coach are looking for, and then we'll go to Mikhail with what he's looking for, not just for himself, but from his team and as a group and as a core.
Well, in the scrimmage season is what we call it's the whole month of October, really, for us.
Right.
What we're trying to do is just find chemistry with the team together. In practice, you're split up on different teams. You're going at each other, and so you may not always get to play with another guy, in different lineups. But then when we go out there together as a team, it's all of us against the other team. And now we've got guys like, for instance, Saturday, Mikhail and Harris played together a lot, and they had great chemistry, shared the ball well, and really positive minutes of how they played together. And we were talking about it on Monday in our meeting, and Mikhail said, yeah, Paris and I never really get to play together in practice, but that's because we have to split everybody up. And so what you're trying to see is what the total unit looks like and find combinations that work good together as you prepare for the upcoming season.
And Mikhail, for you as a big man, how hard is it to find that chemistry with, at a new place and at a new team?
You definitely want to feel your way into things. You know, you don't want to just rush in and just be over aggressive and stuff. You want to feel your way into things. You know, with guys like Eric Parrish, who's a great player. You know, Jason Holiday, he's a great competitor, stuff like that. So it's definitely just want to feel your way into things.
Well, let's take a look now at some of the action from the last game against Grayson. And Chris, if you would, talk about the defense and the transition game. As we're going to see here in just a second, here's the starting lineup, the first clip that,
Sure.
With the smaller lineup that we just talked about. And we're going to see some transition game here in just a second in this one clip after that. And here's some of the shot from the corner. They come down and we're going to get a rebound and a quick out. And, talk about right here, we see the quick out and the beautiful bounce pass for the easy layup.
Well, for us, it's if we can get a stop on the defensive end of the court, our guys are going to sprint up the court, and we're going to try to get easy buckets. One of the things that really hurt our team last year, even though we were really good, is that we didn't get a ton of transition buckets. And a lot of that had to do with just our personnel. Well, this year, because we're long and we're fast and we got multiple guys that can really get up the court and finish, once we get a rebound, we're going to push. And in this lineup particular, we've got 4 guys on the court that if they get the rebound can push it up the court on their own. So we're not having to get it to the point guard every time to get the ball up the court, which allows us to get out and get some easy buckets. And as well as I do, if you're getting easy buckets in transition, not having to set up and run your offense every possession, it really helps you win games.
Here that half court set and got a good look right there from Erie Olenati, and then here's Lane Hartley from Chatham, Louisiana, knocking down an open 3. And that perimeter shooting there, was something you mentioned earlier with that with the smaller lineup.
Well, against the zone, we like to screen the zone and swing what we call to the backside for the boom boom, from the wing to the corner for the shot. You see it right here, and you saw it the 2 clips previous. And when you screen a zone, it creates openings mathematically where they cannot recover to cover you properly. And there's Mikhail popping out for a shot right there. But, we do have very, very skilled guys who are good shooters. And so against the zone where we can get our feet set and really work, it's to our advantage.
And right there, we see some of the, work we talked about with the passing game and getting comfortable with your teammates. And Stefano Jean-Louis getting a nice pass, from the wing down low to the cutter, and Jason Holiday, who goes to the line, draws the foul and goes to the line. And
no doubt.
From Mikhail, we saw a clip of you just a second ago of out on the perimeter, and then getting a pass, one dribble, pop up and knock down inside the arc, knock down the jumper. Is that your repertoire there? I mean, is that the Mikhail game?
Yes, sir. That's basically my game, yes, sir. Dribble, pull up, or drive, kick, stuff like that. Just kind of fits within his offense, stuff like that. So, yes, sir.
For you in particular, is that, I'm just speculating here that, at the NCAA Division I level, I'm just guessing at Loyola Marymount playing more of a 3-4, and now you're kind of still playing the 4, but more of a bigger guy and playing almost a 4-5.
Yes, sir. It's definitely an adjustment, but I feel like it can only help my game, being down there banging with, the 6'11s, weighing like 270, stuff like that. It can only help my game, learning to post up, block shots, rebound, stuff like that. So,
well, Chris, you did have one more game against Collin College. Just briefly touch on that one. It was the 3rd game of the day, and I know you guys' legs had to be kind of jello-y.
Well, the crazy thing about that game is we actually played the first half. We played incredibly well. We defended hard. We were up 12 points in the first half at one point and really clicking on all cylinders defensively, probably for the first time all day. And then once we got to halftime, it was almost like we just couldn't match the energy. They'd only played 2 games that day. It was our 3rd, no excuses. But they came out and they hit a bunch of threes on us. And a lot of that had to do with us us not staying in front of the ball as good as we needed to. But the great thing is we've got it on film. We're able to go sit down with the guys, look at it, and improve and get better from that. And that's what you want. You know, if we walked out of there 3-0 with nothing to work on, it doesn't help us get ready for the next one.
Right. Well, next up, speaking up, is you have a scrimmage with LSU Alexandria. And then on October 22nd, BPCC's hosting a three-way scrimmage with Southern Arkansas University and LSU-A. That's going to begin at 5 p.m. What can we expect? And what are your expectations in those three scrimmage games?
Well, let me tell you, that's going to be a tough scrimmage for us. Those are both four-year schools. LSU Alexandria came in ranked number 2 preseason nationally in AI. They lost in the national championship game on a buzzer beater last year, and they've got some really good players. A 4-year program, which means our guys will be playing juniors and seniors, and then you've got Southern Arkansas coming in, who's a 4-year Division II program, NCAA Division II, and so. It's a chance for our guys to play against guys older than them who have been in a system for 3 or 4 years at that level. And I think it gives us a good picture of where we are competitively. I think it's going to tell us a lot about our team. I think it's also going to prepare us for our conference play, which, as you well know, is rigorous. But we're very, very excited about that scrimmage. And anyone that wants to come, it'll be an open scrimmage, and we'd love to have people from the community there to support us.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, and we hope you've enjoyed our visit with BPCC men's basketball coach Chris Lovell and forward Mikhail Simmons. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. And join us again next Friday as we bring you the latest on Bossier Parish Community College Cavalier Athletics here on Cavletics. I'm Charlie Cavell, bidding you a good sports day.